Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 16th, 2017. I'm Keith Tebow. This week we have details on new fire protection equipment for our city's fire department personnel. We have the aftermath details of our first major snowstorm and information about two possible repairs at elementary schools. But first, let's talk about the news items of the week. Our normal contributor, Will Richmond, unable to be here today, but we have upgraded in terms of our participation from the Herald News. We're pleased to be joined this week by Editor-in-Chief Lynn Sullivan. Lynn, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm not sure I'm an upgrade, but I'll try.
Well, in terms of title, you know, we're moving up in the world. Again, thank you. We appreciate your participation. First story I want to bring up, which is one that may be a little bit confusing to a lot of people, but the Herald News had a story yesterday concerning the Fall River Housing Authority and how a lawyer for two housing authority administrators who have been placed on now paid suspension have accused the housing authority of doing so because they have been cooperating with some state and federal investigations. Can you fill us in on some of the details as you know it right now?
Okay. I mean, I wish I knew more details, but obviously anytime it's a personnel issue, you know, people get very, very close-lipped. It sounds like there is at least some sort of investigation that's been going on since 2012, which, I don't know, it makes you wonder if something had been found, we would know by now. I mean, this is almost 5 years. But it does sound like something certainly happened with these employees, although it's not quite, clear, were they treated properly, improperly, whatnot. And anytime I think, a defense attorney can come out and pretty much say anything, and they're always more willing to speak, where the sort of the housing authority's attorney is probably like, personnel matter, can't really say much. So it definitely sounds like it'll be an interesting case to watch as it plays out. So.
Just for backup, the two employees, Michael Farrell and Emilio Estacio, was suspended without pay January 16th. But since then, at a housing authority meeting this week, the Board of Commissioners voted to pay the pair retroactively while they're still suspended. I know in the story mentions that one of the managers who have been suspended was suspended because of potentially yelling at an employee and charging an employee with insubordination. Again, as you just said, a lot of these personnel issues, for obvious reasons, officials will not bring to the forefront. But it's interesting that the lawyer for these employees are coming up to make a bold statement that they feel that it's because the employees are taking part in some sort of federal and state investigation. So there's a lot to it. It can get very detailed and dense, but I'm sure we'll hear more as both the Herald News and FRC Media News start delving in potentially to what may be happening here at the Fall River Housing Authority. All right, shifting gears to the fire department. We mentioned we're going to have a story about the new fire department gear, which was unveiled today. And the City Fire Department Union ratified a new contract, 3-year contract with the city this week. And it looks like, Lynn, this is something that has been long overdue and also something that, both sides always want more than what they get, and that's why there's a negotiation. But it looks like that some of the issues that the union had put forth actually came to fruition, mainly, again, this protective gear that the city's actually going to pay for.
Yep, that sounds great. I mean, to the regular person reading, it sounds like a no-brainer. But like you said, I mean, negotiations are negotiations. It's also interesting that the certified firefighters can now work on the rescue units, and it's interesting. Jason Burns, the head of the union, said maybe this is a step they should have taken as far back as 1983. So that sounds great. It sounds like a win for everybody. So.
And the details of the agreement is similar in terms of salary increases, as the city has recently negotiated with other unions a a 0 raise for the first year and then a 2% raise over years 2 or 3. So again, nothing out of the ordinary. And firefighters have a new contract, and they're going to get some new gear, which we'll have more about later on in our newscast. And good for the firefighters in the city to come to grips and moving forward. And I know personnel staffing has always been an issue with safer grants and the like, and it looks like there's a little more stability in the fire department. All right, Lynn, what I want to talk a little bit about now is the Herald News this past weekend had a series of articles concerning the city's homeless problem and homeless population. I guess give us a little background on how the Herald News came about investigating this story and what was found.
Sure. When Michael Holtzman did a story about the housing study that Carol Fiola had commissioned, one of the things that really stood out to us is that the homeless population in the past, I think it was almost 10 years, had increased 65%. Like that number just to us seemed outrageous. Like what the heck happened? And Will Richmond remembered even 10 years ago writing a story when Ed Lambert was mayor about how they put together this task force and their goal was to eliminate homelessness. So, that didn't happen, obviously. In fact, it went up. So we really wanted to take a look at this issue from sort of all sides. This weekend upcoming, we'll look more at those numbers and what the numbers actually mean. Are they a little misleading? And then also we were talking to old former mayors about what efforts they'd made in their administrations over the past 10 years. And one of the interesting things is we've had a lot of turnover in 10 years in administrations. And
5
so
years.
it's tough, right? It's tough to have continuity there.
Right.
But we really wanted to look, too, at, what are the demographics here? Who actually is homeless? And it doesn't necessarily fit with stereotypes or what you see in movies, especially in the past few years. It's been a lot more young people, which is heartbreaking. Young kids like 18 to, say, 22 who just don't have a place to stay. Either they've come out of the foster care system or for whatever reason they're just couch surfing. So I think we wanted to do it in a compassionate way, not to say this is a problem. What's happening? What's going on? There are an awful lot of very compassionate people in the city who have stepped up and are doing their part, to help this problem.
Yeah.
So,
and I know it's difficult for the city and social service agencies which are trying to help the homeless to actually get a grip on the number of homeless. There are some people who may not come forward as being homeless who may be homeless. So I know you represented a number in the paper, a ballpark number, but usually those numbers are on the lower end, and there's usually more people that are unaccounted for.
Yep. They do those point-in-time counts where they actually go out and count. But you're right, it's very difficult to get the handle on it.
All right, Lynn, what's coming up at the paper over the next few days?
Like I said, we'll be continuing with our homeless package, for Sunday. We too are looking at the new firefighting equipment, and I guess they are looking at some of their new trucks and whatnot. But I think that's about it.
All right, Lynn.
Okay.
Lynn, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
We'll have more FRC Media news right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Operations Administrative Assistant. The Amazon Fulfillment Center, located at 1180 Innovation Way, is in need of an operations administrative assistant with experience in manufacturing in a production environment. Must have the ability to multitask and manage details of different processes efficiently with excellent computer skills using Microsoft Office Suite. Job number 8512580. Prep Cook. St. John's Restaurant, located at 1365 Rodman Street, is seeking a full-time prep cook responsible to wash, peel, and cut various fruits and vegetables and store prepared food in designated containers. Other duties include clean and sanitize work areas, equipment, and utensils. Job number 850-5159. Chief Estimator. Rusco Incorporated, located at 565 Commercial Drive, is seeking a full-time chief estimator with strong leadership abilities and an understanding of construction means and methods associated with the renovation and construction of retail buildings. Must have knowledge of civil, architectural, mechanical, and electrical work, as well as proficiency with spreadsheets, email, and other software used in the construction industry. Job number 8510785. Staples, located at 416 William S. Canning Boulevard, is seeking to fulfill the following positions. Technology Sales Associate, job number 8507778. Outside Business to Business Sales Representative, job number 8507781. Print and Marketing Supervisor, job number 8507777. For more information on these or other positions, visit FRCmedianews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Fall River firefighters have 104 sets of new fire protective gear acquired by the city through a nearly $235,000 Federal Emergency Management Agency grant. Each full set of gear costs $2,500. At a news conference this week, Mayor Jazo Correa talked about that new equipment.
This is a really wonderful day. As you see, both on the men that are here, but also on these tables, you can see 104 sets of new fire protection equipment for our fire department. And those sets include, and I'll read the list here, a helmet, fire coat, bunker pants, and suspenders, gloves, and fire boots. It's the latest and best technology, and it's going to keep our guys safe. And it really is, it looks good. It looks pretty stylish, too, compared to the old one. I feel like we're going to have a fashion show or something in a second. But if we want to just, I don't know if you want to show it off and what kind of gear we have, and then we can kind of continue with the press conference. Why don't we do that? Somebody want to show off the gear? So here we have the helmet.
We have new helmets. These are an MSA or Carnes, basically a 10-10 helmet. It's an upgrade from what we had in the past. It also has a shield built into the helmet, which is a newer style. Okay. They also supplied us with the shields to identify who's who. It makes it a little bit easier so we know who we're dealing with. Included was a set of gloves, just a firefighting protection gloves for our hands. Believe it or not, these typically go for about $135, and this is quite an investment, just a pair of gloves. We've got a set of turnout gear, which includes the coat and the pants, along with suspenders. And as you can see, it's got all the reflective labeling and stuff that we need. And it also makes it obviously much easier for us to see each other and to avoid any injuries and stuff.
Fire Chief John Lynch said the new protective equipment represents a new era for his department.
For the first time ever, the City of Fall River has made a strong commitment to the fire department. They're going to provide gear like this that is not only very protective, but it's also NFPA compliant. The other commitment that we've made is that not only are we providing new gear, but also washers and dryers to clean this gear. No longer will we have to walk around carrying residue of the fire, carcinogens, and other toxins. So this is very important to us.
The first major snowstorm of the winter drained Fall River's $475,000 snow removal budget, according to Department of Community Maintenance Director John Perry. He tells FRC Media News the major problem with this particular storm was the rain that fell before the snow.
Rain comes, and no matter what you do, you cannot dry it soon enough. So once the snow falls on that, it creates a slushy, icy mixture. Once that freezes, there's no way to get to the base layer of pavement. At that point, you just continue to fight it day after day until you can try to get down to asphalt. But that makes it very difficult. We had a little more success on the hills because we got to brine those, and some of the mains we got to brine prior to that. That lowers the freezing temperature of the pavement to 7 to 32 degrees below zero. So that helps us keep that base layer from freezing. But obviously we can't do every street. And as far as that goes as well, to your previous point, there are 780 streets in this city. There are 280 miles of roadway. That's a monumental task. One we accept the responsibility for. We take it seriously, but it is quite the task. And when it's done, we're proud to say that we were able to accomplish it.
While Perry said he encourages residents not to shovel snow back out into the street after a storm, he also says he understands the frustration people feel when his plows push snow back against driveway entrances while plowing city streets.
Absolutely, without a doubt, understand that. But again, it's a byproduct of what we do. Unfortunately, I wish we could offset that in some way, but it's very difficult. And I think if you looked at other communities, they're going to have the same problems, the same complaints, and the same concerns. I understand that. But again, safety is paramount. And with 780 streets and 280 miles of roadway, we need to make sure we keep those trucks moving and that we keep widening the streets as much as we can. You don't want to be on a narrow street, and have one car coming at the other and not having anywhere to go. So once we have a clear path on the street, our mission at that point is then to widen the street. If we can get it curb to curb, we will. But widen it so not only cars can get by, but again, as you said, emergency apparatus can get by and get to where they need to be.
2 Fall River elementary schools may be the recipients of grant money from the Massachusetts School Building Association. According to the city's Director of Buildings and Grounds, Ken Pacheco, a statement of interest has been drawn up in an effort to secure monies for these much-needed repairs.
One for the Samuel Watson School and one for the James Tansey School. The James Tansey will be for new windows and a new boiler. And at the Watson, it'll be a new roof, a new boiler, and windows. They call it the Accelerated Repair Program. And basically, it's used to try and preserve older schools or buildings that the school department would like to retain no matter what their age, and pick up those major components, envelope components that will allow for energy saving and also for longevity of the building.
The MSBA will award between $2 and $5 million for school building repairs throughout the state. Pacheco hopes that both of the city's elementary schools will receive a good portion of that funding.
I would like to see them get both schools. I don't know if they will award us both. They may award us one. If they only award us one, I would like to see the Tansey. The windows are older. The windows are 1951. So the building is extremely drafty, tough to heat, and half of them don't open, so it makes it very uncomfortable for students in the fall and spring, summer.
When would the grant money be available?
It looks like they usually make the decision over the summer. Then they would assign a contract. Assign a engineer and an owner's project manager to start the project. We would go out to bids, probably mid to late fall, and that kind of work could be done year round. So we would probably be doing it this time, next year.
We'll be back with more right after this.
Welcome to Forever Pause. I'd like you to meet Daredevil today. Daredevil has somewhat of a sad story. On top of being abandoned with his housemate in an apartment, he's blind. He's 10 to 12 years old. He has congenital eye problems where he was probably born with this defect and it gradually got worse and worse. My own dog is the same way. And basically, he's quite well functioning in the home. He can find anything he wants to. He is not limited by the floor. He's been in foster care 2 times, and basically both foster care parents said he's a fantastic cat.
So this is Buddha. Buddha is a 2-year-old pit mix, very enthusiastic, as you can see. Very good boy. Previously was in a home. He's housebroken now, knows basic commands and whatnot, and generally he's just very playful and very loving. Very good boy. He's been here now for a few weeks. Not much interest, which is a little surprising to me. As I already said, he's a very good boy. But yeah, come on down, meet him. We're at Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Street here in Fall River, and Buddha's here waiting for you.
Fall River school children will have some free time next week while on February break. And parents and guardians can bring them to the Fall River Public Library for at least one activity, if not more. Donna Mata has more.
I'm here at the Fall River Public Library. Next week is school vacation week. It starts on Monday, which is President's Day, and runs through the whole week. No school for the kids, but there are activities here right at the library. On Tuesday, February 21st at 11 o'clock in the morning, the movie The Great White Man-Eating Shark will be shown at the North Main Street Public Library. The movie is based on the book by Margaret Mayhew. Children of all ages are invited to view the film and then meet, dance, and mingle with Patrick Star, a fun cartoon character from the movie SpongeBob. Of course, the event is free and open to the public. For FRC Media News, I'm Donna Mata.
And that'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can watch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. And you can join us online 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.